Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for December 16th of 2024 is titled "A Kilometer High Cliff on Comet Churyumov-Gerasimenko." So what do we see here? Well, here we see an image of a comet, and it may not look like any other comet you've ever seen. And that's because this was taken by the Rosetta spacecraft, which actually orbited around the nucleus of a comet. Now, when we see a comet in the sky, we don't actually see the cometary object itself, which we'd call the nucleus. That is the solid piece of material that is mostly icy material with some sooty material and rocky material mixed in with it. Now that is what creates the rest of the comet that we see. But when that passes close to the sun, the icy material will be vaporized. It's heated up and it undergoes a process called sublimation. It will go directly from a solid state into a gaseous state because there is no atmospheric pressure, nothing to hold it into a liquid state, which requires a certain amount of pressure. So when it does that, the material starts to form around the nucleus of the comet and forms the head and then is pushed back in the tails of the comet. So that's when we actually can see the comet here on Earth. The cometary nuclei are too small, too dark, and too far away for us to be able to see them here from Earth. But when Rosetta was there and actually orbiting around, we could get detailed images to study. And here we see one of those, a kilometer high cliff stretching up above part of the cometary nucleus. Now, a kilometer high cliff is pretty big here on Earth. But in terms of the cometary size, which may only be a few kilometers in size itself, then it's actually very significant by comparison to the actual size of the object. Now we can also see the detailed structures here, and most of what we're seeing is icy material. Comets form in the outskirts of the solar system, and primarily what formed there were ices, and that includes water ice, but also includes methane and ammonia as well. So those make up a lot of the moons in the outer solar system, but also the cometary objects and other objects out in the depths of the solar system. And that's because there was a lot more material to build from. The icy material couldn't condense well near Earth, so we don't have a lot of icy material forming Earth. And in fact, if you go below our surface layers, we really don't have any water or ice at all. But here in the outer parts of the solar system, we get to see some of that from these comets that were then adjusted in their orbits as they pass close to other objects and brought into the inner part of the solar system. So here we can see some of those structures, including various boulders, which could also be icy material strewn down in the middle there. Those things could be as large as about 20 kilometers. And if you want to think what it might be like to jump off a kilometer high cliff, not something that would be recommended here on Earth. But because of the much lower surface gravity, it is quite possible to jump off a kilometer high cliff on an object like this and survive the fall to the bottom. And that's because the gravitational acceleration would be much slower, and you would not reach such a high speed in the time it took you to go from the top of the cliff down to the bottom. So that was our picture of the day for December 16th of 2024. It was titled "A Kilometer High Cliff on Comet Churyumov-Gerasimenko." We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture. So until then, have a great day, everyone. And I will see you in class.